Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure thing, sure thing.
Yeah, yeah, we are live, so we can just take on, I think. Can proceed.
Okay, so best themes, anybody else with any expectations? Derek, did you want to say something? Okay, so Derek, I see you unmuted your mic. Yeah, please go ahead, fire away. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a good Sunday. Yeah, mainly I'm just there to learn something new and probably contribute.
Okay, that's really good. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, maybe as we wait for more people to join in, let me just start with the basic concept of themes, just to get us going there. If I have a chance, I'm going to do a small sort of like demo to get people from basically the basics to getting to a place where we can all like we are all at the same level and we are talking the same language. I suspect some people here might be new to the concept of themes and they're thinking, how do I get there? Is that consensus? You can drop a comment in the chat. I'll be able to see it and then I can talk about that basically. Okay, Roger, is it okay for me to share my screen?
Yes, you should be able to.
Okay, okay, thank you. All right, so everyone can see that, I think, by now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. So basically what I have here is a WordPress website that's running on my local server. I use a local server called Local by Flywheel. Initially it was by Flywheel, but WP Engine bought it off and started producing it. So it's open source software. They give it out for free. You're able to sync websites, your WP Engine hosting, and then work on them locally and just push them with a click of a button, like what I have down here. So you can sync it up or sync it down if you want, if you're using local by WP. Now, because the company that I work with uses WP Engine for hosting, local makes it easy for me. But we are here to talk about themes and not to market what WP Engine does. So I'm going to just open in my back end and I'm going to go to appearances and I'll go to themes. Now, the concept of themes basically comes from the programming concept of MVC. Have we interacted with that anagram, that short form before, MVC? Anyone? Okay, so basically what MVCs are, MVC is model, view, and controller in programming. And that's the way that people distinguish websites that are database driven when they want to separate concerns. By that, I mean, when you're developing the website, you have a part that deals with people entering data, okay? And then there is that part that captures the data that has been entered in a form, for example, or in, let's say you're on a website that fills in information for NERA, and you're entering information for different people so that they can get their national ID. That information goes to a database that stores it and can be used to reproduce whenever it's needed. That data can be reproduced. So when you enter data on a form as a user of that platform, as someone employed by NERA, you enter the data in a form. Now, that part that you're looking at is what's called the view. The view is something that people see, excuse me, it's the thing that people see on the front end. okay? But we never see what the database looks like or how it's working or how it's doing everything. So there is that layer between you entering the data and when you click the submit button, and that data is captured and taken and stored in the database. So that's what is called as the controller. So we've covered the V and the C. Sorry, we've covered the V for view and the controller C. So model is how you intend to interact with your data, how you're going to save it, and so on. So that's the stuff that's associated with the database. Now, in WordPress, it's sort of something that is not well defined when you're doing the MVC model of programming, but I don't want to get into that whole shebang. Simply stating it, WordPress does everything in one go. Most people will come and install WordPress. We install a theme or a plugin, and we start working away. We don't know what's going on behind. We really don't care because that's not something we're into. We want to do our marketing. Maybe we want to just create a website for a client who's going to sell their shoes in an e-shop. So all that other business does not really affect us. We don't really, we care, but we don't care. I don't know if I make the distinction, but we just want to be able to get on with our work. And WordPress does that really well. Now, when we want to showcase a website on the front end, like what I have here, let's say we are dealing with a shop and we are selling an item that is basically ingredients. We need to have a way that people will approach this site, something that is appeasing to them in the eye and they want to buy. So in most cases, we just go to the appearances, we go to themes, and we're going to either use the themes that are already existing in our site, or we can click the add button to add some themes that come from the WordPress repository. These themes are usually free. Let me say they are free, and you can just click install. Whenever you see something that you like, you just click install, it becomes part of your system. Then you can actually activate it and use it on the front end. So right now I'm installing this Hello Elementor theme right here. And once it's done, just give it, my internet is relatively slow because I'm streaming as well as I'm trying to do a million other things on the web page. But ideally, it shouldn't take longer than this to install. Wow. That's crazy. But I'm just going to click activate for this theme that I've already installed, which is 2019. And when I click activate, okay, our Hello Elementor has come. So I'm going to click activate. We're going to see that's the new theme activated. And when I reload this page, you're going to realize that my website looks a little bit different. Things have changed. I don't have what I had up there, and I don't have any other thing in the footer. So we just simply click, and then we add stuff from our WordPress repository. These themes are usually free. They are usually vetted in the software to find out if they have bad software. So there is an approval team that manually goes through your code, even after using an automated system, and they approve the themes that should be on the WordPress repository. Of course, there are rules to follow if you want to submit your own theme, but that's usually the safest place to go and get a theme. However, that's not the only place where we can get themes. There are places like themeforest.net where we can go and buy themes. There are other personal websites where we can go and buy different themes because every one of us wants to look unique. We want to have our shop looking uniquely. We want to have our website looking uniquely. So we can go and buy a theme somewhere else, install it in WordPress, and then it will work. So there came in a question from Hussein that was asking about best themes. Now, the one thing about WordPress is that it allows us to also create our own themes. We don't stop at just activating the themes and using them. We can make our own custom themes. So the difference between a theme that you buy from Theme Forest, it comes when it's ready for you to use. But if you want to create your own custom theme, it's actually quite easy. You need about 3 different files, and then you'll be able to have your own custom theme, just having a functions.php file, having an index.php file, and then having a style.css file. So whenever you have those files together in your WordPress, you can be able to come up with your own custom theme, give it a unique name, style it the way you want it, and then just use it across the board. Now, of course, that will mean that you have to program the way it is going to be styled, how things should be related in different ways, what functions you want to add in. You need a bit of knowledge with PHP, HTML, and CSS to be able to do that. Now, if we wanted to just start from scratch, we would just need those 3 files. However, there are places where you can actually go and get a starter theme. So places like those are what you will find out. You'll find something called like _.me. And sorry, it's _.me. And this is a starter theme that was developed by contributors to the WordPress organization or to the WordPress core base. And they developed this place where you can actually just come and add your name, maybe add a few advanced things that you want to add in. And this will give you a base theme, basically a theme that you can hack. And I use the word hack in its proper sense, because basically you're just going to tweak it, do a couple of things, make it better, do what you need it to do in terms of functionality, and then use it. So hacking is not a bad word. We have different styles of hacking and so on, but that's another long story that we can cover another time. But places like _.me will give you a theme that you can use to build on, and you make your own custom themes. So you might be thinking, why would I want to do my custom theme? I think that answer you already know. We want to just look different. We don't want to be the same thing all over again. So you would go to a place like _.me. There are other places that have forked this project and have made it into their own. So they insert things like Bootstrap. So if you know how to use Bootstrap CSS, that will be also used in other places. So we have something called Bootstrap. Let me just look for _ theme with Bootstrap. Yeah. So I'm not saying you cannot get these underscores and add your own Bootstrap or whatever, but there are other particular understrap is actually the name. Understrap has been gotten from what we have here in underscores, and then they have added Bootstrap by default so that you can be able to use it when you're building your theme. There are people who are happy to do that. Other people are happy to use things like Tailwind CSS, and so on. So you can just get this as a startup theme, and then you keep on adding more functionality, because it provides you with all the necessary files that you need to do. Now, the reason why some of these are actually available is because in the way WordPress works, it has something called a template hierarchy. And I hope I'm not losing you. I just want to give you a bit of background of how things work, so that when you dive into that yourself, you should be able to be able to pick up things easily and know why is this there, why, how can I navigate this, how can I make my work simple. So WordPress has a hierarchy, and I just want to show you this image right here. Now, when you look at this image, they tell you how the way themes work in their nature. I think sometimes you've downloaded a theme from WordPress and you find it has like 20 files. And then you download another theme, it has only 3 files. Another theme will have 100 and so files. And that is because of the dynamic nature of PHP, but also a template hierarchy. So by default, WordPress will look for your index.php file. And if inside it you have an archive.php, a single.php, a page.php, a home.php, and all those other files, it will pick them up and use those templates as they are put there because they have different functions. So when you are creating a page, a single.php, a page.php can be used, but that can also be named, both of them can be named as singular.php. But let me leave creating custom themes on the side and not lose everybody. But the possibility of you creating your own custom theme is actually, it starts from this template hierarchy. So I hope I've made a bit of a distinction between a starter theme and a base theme. Now I want to get to the core of our topic, how to choose the best theme, okay? Now, because we all want to be unique and we want to be different, that's how different businesses are made. And that's why we have these WordPress items that are being sold right here. You'll actually see there are also Woocommerce templates. So those are templates that uniquely fit in within the Woocommerce section. Now, because we all have different businesses, we all have different brand colors, we always come up with the question of what is the best theme for maybe this industry. For example, we want to develop a site for farmers. So we ask, what is the best theme for me to actually work with agriculture? Or we'll come and ask, what's the best theme for a law firm? What's the best theme for an e-commerce site? What's the best theme for whatever need you want to suit? The problem with the question is already solved there for you. You're looking for a distinction between the industries and how to communicate. The theme is not the problem. What do I mean by that? Earlier on, we looked for a theme, and I downloaded a theme called Hello Elementor. And this theme has been created so that you can use it as a base to start building with Elementor over it. You can build with any other theme and use Elementor on it, but this particular theme has been created by the Elementor team to make it much more easy, optimized to work with Elementor. So I would advise you to use that if you're going to use Elementor as a tool. Now, there are other themes like Astra and other themes that work well with Beaver Builder and so on. So you're not looking for a theme that is going to give you that style, but you're looking to actually grow your design skill as a person. The problem is not the theme. The problem or the challenge is that you're trying to fit the design need that you have, and you want to fit it with a particular theme. So you would have to go through the WordPress repository and say, okay, this is the theme that actually looks like what I want to have. Maybe these are my brand colors. This is the theme that's going to help me change my colors a lot easier and make things much easier for myself in terms of my website development. So any theme can be the best theme. At the same time, any theme can be the worst theme. How do you distinguish between a good theme and a bad theme? Good themes are optimal. They don't have code that is useless, that is not going to be helpful. Good themes are those themes that are not so opinionated. What do I mean by that? That they restrict you from adding features that you want to have, or they should be able to follow a particular standard. Let me again sort of go back to the start. If you are looking for a good theme for whatever industry, you're not looking for the color, you're not looking for the, you're looking for the one that's going to help you integrate your features very, very well. Now, some people use plugins like WordPress. Maybe they want to create a social network for their local community. If you're using WordPress, there's some themes that have been well optimized to work with something like WordPress. So in order for you to find those, sometimes you just have to come here and say, I want something with WordPress. You type the word WordPress properly, click enter, or actually you first have to come to add new in themes, and then you're going to search for WordPress in the themes here. And because those themes that have been developed have the WordPress tag, you'll actually see some of those come up here, and you can just click on install and you'll use them and they will work with that particular plugin very well. Maybe you're looking for something that works well with WooCommerce. So you'll type in WooCommerce here, and you can use any of the themes that gives you that vibe that you're looking for. But mark you, a number of people have put their themes, the free version of their theme, on the WP repository. So that means once you've installed, you might not get this page the way it looks like, because maybe one of these items here is a pro feature. So that means you're going to have to buy it at the end of the day. You'll have to spend about $40 or $50 or $30, depending on their pricing model. You're going to have to buy that theme if you want to use all the features the way you saw them in the preview. So that's also a downside. So sometimes it's very good for you to have a structure of the way you develop your websites. So you know, I am not the best graphics designer there is. Maybe I should pay a graphics designer to design for me a theme, and then I can translate that using my page builder like Elementor or Beaver Builder or Gutenberg itself. Let me use the layout they have used, let me replicate it using my page builder, and I will be fine. Or you just say, I like this theme, I like what it does, I am going to pay for the pro version and use all the features that it has. So those are two options. The other option is saying, my graphics designer has made me one, or I have made my own design, so let me go and make a custom theme so that I can use it for my project. So you have about 3 different options to use, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you have made the best choice for yourself. And I know I have not yet answered your question about how to choose the best theme, but I think I've started giving on the pointers. 1, make sure it gives you all the features that you need. Make sure it allows you to have a flexibility in terms of the fonts that you can use. Make sure it doesn't give you dead code. Some themes haven't been updated in years. And the reason why you need to get a theme that's updated is because the language that WordPress runs on, which is PHP, HTML and CSS, have kept on getting better. In the past 2 years alone, PHP as a language has released about 3 different versions of PHP. Right now, there is PHP 8.1, and your theme might have been developed to work with PHP 5.6. Yes, WordPress supports 5.6, but soon it will drop it, and they are recommending that you use something like PHP 7.4. So in that alone, you might have breaking changes and you'll have a client call you at 2 a.m. in the morning telling you, my site is broken, can you fix it? If you don't have the PHP knowledge, you're going to be in a bind. You will not be able to run out of that one. And that is simply because PHP has changed. CSS in itself has also changed. So there are simpler ways of doing things. There are much more performant ways. So you're seeing that your theme is not only about the looks, but it's also looking at things like performance, speed, and so on. So all those things are ingrained. Now, there's no silver bullet. The reason why I haven't told you that theme X is the best is because there's no silver bullet. You have to find for yourself that theme that is going to help you with those items. So you have a checklist. Is it going to be performant once I have made my site? Is it going to have extra code that I don't need? Maybe it has 20 features in the theme that I don't need. That is extra, and I cannot turn off those extra features. By that, I mean, you cannot use a checkbox. You do not have something to just tick it off and say, I don't want to use this feature. So that is going to be an overhead of code over your site. So it will make it slower. It's not going to be really, really helpful. So in the end, it will be advisable for you to choose maybe another theme. So you're looking for an updated theme. You're looking for one that gives you the features that you need, depending on the design direction that you're taking. You're looking for one that's giving you options in terms of colors and so on. So that is one way of looking at themes. Now, that brings me to the point of what are known as nulled themes, Nulled. Now, because we human beings are sometimes very, very funny, or because of the environment we come from, someone wants to pay you maybe 200K for a website, which I don't think you should be doing. It's not, that's my opinion. That's my personal opinion, but you're free to go with whatever you want to do as your pricing. You want to save as much from that 200,000 that has been given to you and still deliver a site, okay? Including of hosting and all those other things. So you do not have the wiggle room to actually pay for a theme. So you say, I'm going to get 50K and I'm going to buy a nulled theme from a site because I don't want to spend 500K paying for the same theme from the legitimate shop. Now, some of those sites embed code that is going to add things like tracking. Maybe they're going to add Bitcoin mining or cryptocurrency mining in their code. So you end up having your site really, really slow, but you don't know that someone is using your server resources in the back end. And that is because you got a bad theme at a cheap price. Number one, don't buy a nulled theme, or don't download one that is from a torrent site and they're telling you you're going to get it. One of the good things about buying genuine themes is, one, you're supporting the developer. You're allowing them to have an income and to actively keep on making that theme better, give it more features, and so on. So they are a developer just like you, or a business owner like you. So they need to make ends meet. So if you support them genuinely, you actually make their product even maybe run a little cheaper, because they're going to probably make a discount for people who are in areas that need to have it at a low cost. So it is good to buy genuine software or themes, because you will save yourself the headache of having to clean up a site, of having a customer call you at 2 a.m. because the site is broken, and just having a good name. For some of you, you've always known that a good name is better than anything else. So it is good for you to keep your name as a developer, as a designer, as a business owner, when you're having the best code there is on your site. So performance, give you the features, is not nulled. Now, the way you will know that you're buying a nulled theme is when you go to a site and they tell you, you already know that there is a genuine software on home website of that software, and then you come here where they're telling you we're going to sell it to you cheaply than the original site. That is a red flag in itself. Be very, very careful. Your credit card details might be stolen there, besides you getting bad software or bad themes. So please just go and pick up a theme from the .org repo. And then if you like what it's giving you, then do it. But I would also encourage you to become either hire a graphics designer or become better at your designing skills. They are good places for you to learn how to do design. YouTube is a free resource. If you could spend 30 minutes or an hour every day and you want to learn how to do good design, there are very, very many resources on YouTube that will allow you to learn how to do design or how to make your design a little bit better. So Andrew is shooting up his hand, and let me just allow that to just jump in. So Andrew, please ask your question or drop your comment.
The question I was asking,
yeah,
is about the thing. Can I first then it in Photoshop, then I make my coding using this program?
Yeah. So yeah. So earlier I had talked about creating your own custom theme. Now, I personally have tutorials where I've done how to create your own custom WooCommerce theme, and that is on my YouTube channel. But I also have, I'm going to drop those links in the chat here and in the forum so that you guys can be able to pick them up. So there are, if you go to YouTube itself and you look up how to make a custom WordPress theme, okay, you're going to find a number of people showing you how to create. So there are things from Free Code Camp, there are other advanced ones. There's this particular tutorial that I like from Alecad. I've dropped the theme there. That one helped me when I was starting out, and it's still relevant today. It teaches you so many things to pick up from there. So there are a number of people who are teaching here how to develop your own custom theme. And I'm also going to just look up for creating, let's say, custom WooCommerce theme. And that's what I developed on my channel. So I have, if I go to my channel here, I'm going to just look up for the playlist. And I have one, how to create a restaurant shop. So I'll copy that link and share it. Now, this is for people who really want to delve into programming and coding and learning how to do a number of things. So those are two nice resources that you can have to start from scratch. So what I am talking about is the question that the gentleman asked earlier. He asked, can I get something from Photoshop and make it my WordPress site theme? Yes, that's what those two links that I've shared in there help you to do. So you make your design in Photoshop or Illustrator or GIMP or whatever design software tool that you use, and then you can convert it into a WordPress site theme. You can do that. And I would encourage you to do that rather than going and buying an old theme that will create you problems in the future. Yeah. Yeah. So do we have any questions? So someone was asking, what is the best theme for online store for custom branded clothes? Is Flux good? Nico, I'll be honest with you, I've never used Flux. But I've been sharing with you tips of how to choose a theme. Is it going to, at the end of the day, is it going to be performant for you? Is it having code and features that you don't need and you cannot turn them off? Then that's a problem. Is it asking you to share things that you shouldn't be sharing, like the customer's information and so on? That is not a good theme. Okay. Are you going to be able to get support? Some of the reasons why you should buy legitimate software is that you can be able to get support when a particular feature is not working as it should be. If you buy an old theme, you cannot go to the original sellers of that software and say, hey, can you help me with this? They'll tell you, no, we do not recognize the license that you have. But if your license is genuine, you will get all the support you need and you'll be a happy person. Yes, Andrew, you had another question?
You talked about underscore zip as Bootstrap.
Yeah.
I've been using Bootstrap.
Mm.
Can underscore pass do some donate for me pages? Then so that I can get it as zip.
Yeah.
Need some
So
light there.
if you use underscores itself, you'll have to enqueue Bootstrap in there. However, there is this other one called Understrap. They forked this software and added Bootstrap by default. So all you'll need to do is come to this site, which is understrap.com. You put in your email address and you'll click the download button and you'll download Understrap for free. So you can start using it with Bootstrap and you keep working with your custom theme using Bootstrap and WordPress at the same time. Yeah. I hope that helps answer the question. Cool. So I'll continue with just sharing. So just to give you a personal opinion, I'm not saying it's the best. Like I always say, look out for your own way. Try to dig your own, like find your own way around different issues. So there's this thing called Blocksy that I usually use. Now, the reason why I want to show you this particular theme is that Blocksy has been developed to work well with the default WordPress editor. Now, right now, WordPress is going through a transformation coming from the old classic editor into using the block editor. For many people, they developed their themes for the old editor. And there are a number of things that have changed since then. In the old editor, you had to do so many things to get a page to style by default. Now, let me just go to pages, for example, right now, or posts. I'll just go to pages and try to add a new page. And you'll see that we have the new editor showing up here in this location. But there, if you want to add a paragraph, you'd say this is a paragraph. And by default, this already has a way that it looks like. Now, in the old way we used to build themes, we had to style everything in its own way. But now WordPress allows you to change the font. You can say, I want this to become large. I want it to have a drop cap. So you have this little T coming up. You have new blocks that are coming in that should be supported. Maybe you want to have a block that has Facebook as a link. So, oh, Facebook is not in here. Instagram is not, Twitter. So let's say you want to embed a Twitter URL link. So there are very many things that the default editor is giving you straight out of the box. Now you need to find out, does the theme that I'm going to use support this? Because if this is the way my clients are going to be writing their content, this should be supported. These default parts of WordPress should be supported. So that's why I wouldn't advise you to buy some themes. Some themes in the theme forest were developed years ago, and they're not being improved for them to work with Gutenberg. Okay, so that is something you need to look out for and say, am I going to use Gutenberg? Then I need to do this. Am I going to use Elementor? Does my theme support Elementor very well, so that I don't get to have problems at the end of the day? So the theme that I was just showing you that is called Blocksy is a nice theme. It is opinionated, meaning it has different things that come out straight out of the box, but it will allow you to style it differently in as much as it is using Gutenberg. Now, what does this theme allow you to do? I'm going to hit customize, and you're going to see a couple of things that do come up. So by default, this particular theme, if I reduce the customizer a bit, you're going to see it comes out a bit neat, and it gives you your menu already showing up here. And this is what happens. If I was to turn this into mobile, this already gives me my mobile version of my menu showing up easily here. It is easy to style stuff from in here. Even the tablet version is given to you. Different other themes will do that for you. This will allow you to do styling much easier. So what do I mean by that? I can decide to go to the colors, and I'm going to choose how my links will look like in terms of color, or how my headers should all look. So I can just click this and say my colors are going to be ABCD. With just a simple click, I'm already working and styling how my site should look like. I can add different things and so on, borders, global colors. I can set base colors and say my base color is going to be like this yellow. So that helps me to do these things much easier. Now, the best thing about, sorry about the background noise. The best thing about this is that this theme will allow you to style your post types by default. So let me say I want to style how my blog posts are going to look. I can have one where I'm showing it in a lateral version. So by just clicking the block structure, I'm going to change these colors so that we have something that is quicker, looking a little bit smarter. So I'm going to come back to my blogs, and I can do different styles of how I want to have my blog showing up. So there's this style. You can have this one where you have a grid that is styled differently. And then you can choose to say, I want to have maybe 3 or 4 post types showing up in the way this is styled. And you can actually go to the card and say, I don't want to show the post meta. So I've just disabled that. You'll see some things went off. Maybe I want to move my title to be at the bottom. By just dragging and dropping, my title is going to move down, and that is going to go through for all your different items. So you can see straight out of the box, this particular theme is giving me features that I will need. I don't need to code, but they're going to start showing up, and it's going to be a good thing for me. So if someone has a question, I would like you to shoot it as I prepare something here that I'm going to show you. Are there any questions? Yes, Roger.
Okay, thank you very much, Lawrence, for that. Yeah, I just wanted you to maybe tell us something small about when they talk about full site editing, which is coming up, and themes which will support that, because that is in Gutenberg, which is trying to and compete with other page builders like Elementor. What will it be like with full site editing? Will it even mean changing the menus up there? Can have blocks there? I don't know.
Okay, so just give me a moment. I'm going to update that so that you can also see that. So I wanted to just add an image so that you can see a bit more of what the theme that you choose should be giving you as a feature or the things. Now, even before I go pro, this theme has a pro version, which I would advise you to buy if you enjoy it, if you get to use it and you enjoy it. So I was dealing with the card designs here. I can actually say, you see my images here. Now I want my title to just be under the image and above the image. Allow you to style that. So what Roger is asking about full site editing. Let me try to install the Gutenberg plugin. Right now, you cannot use full site editing in Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to plugins. I'm going to install the Gutenberg plugin. Now, what the Gutenberg plugin will allow me to do, it's going to do something. I'm going to experiment with what full site editing is. So I just need to have Gutenberg installed. Now, this plugin is what is used to experiment, to develop features, and you can be able to use it to do the testing that you want to do on the new features that are coming out. And you're right, you can be able to place a menu in any place that you want to have it. You can be able to place different items wherever you want to have them. So I'm going to install this theme, and I'm going to look for the TT1 theme. Oh no, I'll just look for TOV. So I have Gutenberg installed here. I'm just checking. Yes, I have Gutenberg installed. I'm going to go and look for a theme that I know is really good with full site editing, and that is the TOV.
Maybe you reshare the screen and go
Hey.
off.
Okay, sorry. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to install TOV theme, and then I'm going to try to play around with it. So the TOV theme also comes with features already enabled. It's a good theme if you want to experiment with Gutenberg. If you want to do full site editing, it also has opinions on how particular things should be styled if you want to. So I'm going to go and create a new page. I'm going to add a new page, and I'm going to show you what full site editing will look like in the not so far feature. So in the next release, WordPress 5.9, you're actually going to see full site editing come up. So, okay. So with full site editing, just give me a second. List view. We have patterns. I'll look for the navigation block. So we have the navigation block here that I can add to my blocks right here, okay? And I can add an existing menu, and I'll choose to have the top menu showing up here. Now I'm going to set this page, and I'm going to give it a template. Oh. I'm going to use it page without title. Yeah, page without a title. Yeah. And then I'm sort of going to preview this. And you see, we have this button here that says edit site. And instantly, you actually saw there's that little bit that said site editor. So with this, I can actually start adding things to my site just by dragging and dropping them. And you're going to see that we have these items up here. We have a part that talks about the header. We have a part that talks about the footer. You're going to see that we have things that are called templates. So in this, having these different templates and so on, you can be able to style depending on what the theme gives you. So I can have this page without a template, and then I can start adding things. For example, this was my navigation. I can get my navigation and I can pull it and put it here in this place. I can get other items like the site title. So I can have the site title, which is a new feature. I've clicked and added it and it's already here. So I can actually drag this and put it in any position that I want to have it. So it's no longer the part of just editing code and whatever. This full site editing is going to allow you to touch every single part of your site, and you will not really need what a theme used to look like in those earlier days. You're basically going to have something that looks like what you have Elementor right now, where you drop things like columns. But of course, we already have those in our blocks where we look for a group block. You can also have what we call a column block. Okay, so you can drag and drop the column. But we also have things called patterns right here that you can use. These are patterns, are already developed things, items that you can drag and drop, and they will automatically come here the way they have been designed. So you can actually do more settings with this, because this theme allows you to have these items in a different way. You can justify them. You can have them shaded. You can have them as logos only, with backgrounds and so on. So you can even change the colors. Full site editing is going to be like what you see the different page builders giving you. Of course, it's still in its early stages, but there's a lot more to come. When WordPress 5.9 comes out, you're going to see a lot more of that in the features here. Yeah. Any other questions?
Wow, that is going to be very interesting. I hope people will not create plugin like when Gutenberg came out, people disable it. So I think that one also something people disable.
Yeah, of course, but that's the way WordPress works. When WordPress started out, its biggest selling point was the flexibility it gave. You can create your own custom post type. You can use any plugin that you want. Different people have produced different plugins that are doing the same thing, but everyone does it differently. So that democracy that you have to do different things is what makes WordPress a very good product. Yeah. Yeah. So you'll be able to work with things like, if you've used Elementor Beaver Builder, you can have things like headers, which you can style and develop, and then you can use that in any part of your website. So you have a header, one header, two different headers, and you can use them in the different pages that you want to have. Yeah. Any questions, people?
Members, please, I think we are now going to be winding up. We want to hear from you quickly so that Lawrence can also wind up. So what what have you seen here? Is there something that you have interested you, or do you have some question? And then we wind up with our meetup. Yeah, Nico.
Nico, please unmute your mic and ask your question.
Yes, hello, good evening.
Evening.
Okay, yes, I was asking, at the times when I usually use Astra, Flux,
Nico,
I did make some changes on the. There is some.
Nico, Zoom meeting, Zoom, YouTube.
Hello?
Yes, Nico, I can hear you.
Yeah, I was saying, at the times when I tried to make some changes to edit the shop page, using Elementor and Flux or sometimes Astra, I usually get an error that blocks me from that page being editable. The error is like the full content function, like it's not enabled. I'm not calling the content. I don't know if it's a general problem.
Yeah, sometimes that's a problem with the plugin itself, like Elementor. Sometimes they have bugs, or maybe your internet is breaking down, the process of updating. There could be so many factors, but that would be a good place for you if you're using Elementor to just go and report that problem and ask their support for help. If it's recurring, it could also be because of the host that you're using. It's important for you to find out what that particular feature is if it keeps on recurring. Yeah.
Lawrence.
Yes, please.
There is something where you see some of these themes. They have to place. There are these. I think they are known as templates. For example, we have a symbol. We have. So there could be, you could be loading a particular page, but when there is no, maybe there's a function which is supposed to be called, which places the content, the page content onto that particular layout. So if someone tries to edit with Elementor when the particular object is trying to edit, never called. For example, we have when you have set a particular section when it is supposed to show blog posts, and then we want to edit it so that it displays content. So Elementor says this doesn't. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know those failures do happen. Yeah, ideally Elementor is site-wide if you're working with the front end, so you shouldn't have broken code happening there. Like it shouldn't say this feature is not happening if it says the feature is available. It could also be with an issue where you're having conflict with an extension of Elementor itself, which is causing the problems to your site. So usually those are coding problems. Yeah, in most cases.
Okay. Okay, members, let us get like 5 members only and then we end. Mr. Muhammad, Mr. Dumba, Mr. Mukisa, let us get your thoughts on this. Only 5 members and then we wind up. Let us get, we have some ladies on the group and the meetup today. Gertrude, Molly, what has kept you on the call up to this time? What is that has really interested you in this particular meetup? Godfrey?
I want to thank Lawrence for taking us through today's session. I'm really happy for the improvement of WordPress. Some of us have not yet so much done the coding, but if there is the complete site editing, though we are trying to start with a lot of things doing. It is going to be so nice as we make some money and we learning to code and so on. I'm really happy for today's session. Well, I've been able to do some site using Google Sites. I really have seen a challenge that WordPress is hard to do that. Of course, I was asking myself, now Google has even hosting free with the Drive and so on. How are they going to compete? It was not the way it is through the COVID period. It has improved so much that they are giving you liberty to edit it and so on. Now I'm happy that this one has come up. Thank you so much for the is it insight or what? Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you too.
Gertrude? I saw Gertrude had unmuted. Okay. So, okay, I think other members are not having something to say. Let me get one more member, okay? One more person, and we wind up. Gertrude, are you saying something?
Yeah, I do appreciate for today's session.
Thank you.
I just appreciate. I'm learning. I'm learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So Lawrence, please, you wrap up and then we finalize.
Yeah. So in conclusion, I would like to say there is no best theme for whatever search you're looking for. There is no best theme, but that doesn't mean there is no hope. The way you choose a best theme is, like I told you, does the theme give you the features you need? If you're going to use Elementor, is it well optimized for Elementor? Use it that way. If you're going to use Gutenberg as your editor, is it well optimized for Gutenberg? Use it that way. It gives you the features you need. Of course, that's something you've already seen as you're planning your website, as you're looking at your content, you know what features you need. So find out, does the theme give you that? Look, will the theme be performant at the end of the day? When I put it on my site, is it going to have code that is up to date, or am I going to keep on fighting with old code and trying to fix stuff that's broken? Look at how it's updated. The best place to get them is the WordPress repository. If you're going to buy a theme, try not to buy a null theme. Try to avoid themes on shops that do not update their code, or they are trying to stuff so many features in that one theme that they end up spoiling the whole experience for you. Yeah, that's it. But most importantly, find that theme that's going to allow you to have the creative flow that you want to have as you're dealing with your content, as you're dealing with your design. And if you feel like you don't have the design skills, reach out to someone who is really skilled as a designer, pay them, get the work they need. If you cannot afford to pay them, just go to YouTube, learn from people who are teaching about design. There are very many, free, of charge. Educate yourself so that in the few years that are coming up next, you'll be a design guru yourself. Yeah, that's it. That's what I would have to say.
Thank you very much, Lawrence, for sharing today. Members, we have shared a link in the chat. If you are not part of we have a WordPress community user group. if you are not yet part of it, please, you can join. I can see 14 members here. We have regular meetups and we share on different topics. We have a WordPress Kampala community chapter, and we have WordPress Entebbe, and then we have WordPress Jinja. These are the official chapters of WordPress in Uganda. Yeah, so we keep sharing different things, and we want to encourage you, if you have something that you have learned, you can always tell us in the WhatsApp groups, and then we can be able to give you a chance, and then you share in the next meetup. Otherwise, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. It is already 6. I want us to end at this time, and see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone. Okay.